Hello boys and girls, Adam Nicholas here for WhatCulture Wrestling, fresh off the heels of WWE Super Show-Down. Myself and Phil Chambers have just watched it on our live stream. You can check that out over on YouTube as well. You know what it is? For a show that was in Australia, maybe not necessarily a big show as you would like, one of the big four, obviously one of many shows they're now going to be putting on outside of the United States. This wasn't a bad show for me, and I have to say we enjoyed ourselves thoroughly. We did have a lot of fun things going on the stream simultaneously, but we don't want to waste any more time. There's a lot to get through, so I'm going to get straight into it, and I'm going to tell you what went down at WWE's Super Show-Down in Australia. First off, we had the New Day versus The Bar for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. As you can expect, this was a solid match. These guys have worked together many times before and always deliver when it comes to the tag matches. Nothing flash to talk about here, unfortunately. The New Day retained their titles. The Bar, was nice to see them back on a pay-per-view once again. Next up, we had Charlotte versus Becky Lynch for the SmackDown Women's title, and this was a good match indeed. Two very good wrestlers. We're seeing a lot from these two, and they're both excelling in their new roles, albeit the fact that new roles, should I say, albeit in the fact that Charlotte, who's meant to be the heel, who's meant to be the face, sorry, is actually the heel. Becky, who's meant to be the heel, is actually the face in some weird mashup. I don't know. I'll let you decide on that. But the most important thing out of all of this, Becky Lynch is absolutely flourishing in her new role, and she has been fantastic, and this was no exception. All in all, the match, it maybe could have gone a bit longer for me personally, but the finish was very much, it's WWE refusing to accept that Becky Lynch might just be the sort of anti-hero rather than the heel. But it was a heel finish after a lot of back and forward. Becky was working the arm throughout the match. Charlotte was selling it great. Got to the end where Charlotte went for the figure 8 leg lock and managed to bridge it, and it looked like she was maybe going to get Becky. However, Becky had one trick up her sleeve. She managed to grab the SmackDown Women's title and broke the pin up with the belt. Disqualification finish for this. Becky retains the title. Following on from that, we had the return of John Cena. He was in the tag match with Lashley against Elias and Kevin Owens. This was a fun match. There wasn't a lot to this match, as you can imagine. Kevin Owens and Elias are just a great pairing. Just like, it's basically like the Jericho-Owens kind of combination. He works well with the partner, and them bouncing off each other and basically amping up the heel antics was fantastic. What I want to talk about here is the finish to this match. John Cena, basically with the biggest wry smile on his face, executed pretty much every one of the moves of doom, including the brand new and latest addition, the number 6 on the moves of doom list, the lightning fist, taught to him, of course, by Jackie Chan, his mentor, and also the guy he happens to be doing a film in Hollywood with. But irrespective of that, Cena did the lightning fist. For anyone who's not familiar, it gets me every time. What a finishing move this is. And it was Elias to take it. Up he gets, and Cena does his whole, I've just got to set myself up for this because this is truly brilliant. Sets him up for the lightning fist. Sets himself up. Punch to the face. Cena gets the cover. 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, can't hit on John Cena for this. He's the man, and how can you not like John Cena? It was dumb, it was fun, it was exactly what we wanted from this match. It was a return to Australia for the Iconics, who actually weren't the heels in this match, I don't think. They didn't certainly push themselves as that at the start of the match. They came down. We very much thought they were going to say how happy they were to be here, how good it was to see everyone, but they liked being elsewhere. But they didn't do that. WWE, I think, decided to go with the crowd on this night, let the fans cheer the Iconics because of their glorious homecoming. They were up against Asuka and Naomi, the Team Glow, I guess we'll call them for this review. This match for me over-delivered. These guys put on a great performance, lots of cool tag team spots between the Iconics and also between Naomi and Asuka, who actually were really good together. They did stuff like a double hip attack together. They looked like they were in sync. The Iconics obviously always look good, and the way that they sort of get across those heel antics by bouncing off one another with the banter and stuff. They did the whole iconic little stand there. Billy Bloody Kay and Pike and Bloody Royce, that's one just for you, Adam Wilborn. All in all, another good match. None of these matches are going to set the world alight. They were all fairly straightforward, what you would call them as house show matches. But the Iconics did actually manage to get the win. But you know what it was? I have to say, it was nice to see WWE actually just acknowledge the fact that the fans were going to be with them and not just try and have them be the heels for the whole match. Then next up it was AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe, and this was you've seen the build up to this match. There was a lot of personal feelings going into this match, and these guys delivered a performance that really kind of hit home the fact that this was personal. This wasn't just a match, this was two guys going at it. And after everything Joe's done, like the home invasion stuff, this felt personal, it felt aggressive, and both men put it across that way. The match itself was, I think, probably one of the better ones of the night. Maybe match of the night for me. Me and Phil said at the time, match of the night, although a few might have superseded it. We'll talk about those in a second. Ultimately, after what was a bit of a heated exchange between the two, Styles in fairness was getting beat up for the whole of the match at the very beginning. Samoa Joe again looks like a monster, but all in all managed to make him look strong, but Styles managed to roll it through, got himself on the calf crusher on Samoa Joe, and ultimately Joe, who was very close to the ropes, it has to be said, he managed to get the win with a tap-out victory over AJ Styles. Got the tap-out victory over Samoa Joe. It was 6 women tag team action after this. Ronda Rousey and the Bella Twins were up against the Riot Squad. Liv Morgan was back for this match after she'd been knocked out inadvertently by Brie Bella. Normally, obviously, they have the whole concussions policy, but it seems like she was cleared by the medics and was okay to take part in the match, which is excellent news. Obviously, it can vary between concussions and depending on the individual, but nevertheless, these guys put on a solid bout between the 6. I love the Riot Squad. I love their get up as a 3. They're really starting to gel. They really have it down in terms of being heels and how to get the kind of reactions they want off the audience. We ended up at the point where in the ring it was Logan, it was Morgan, and they were trying to beat down Ronda Rousey, who had received a hot tag earlier and absolutely cleaned house, which is what spilled everybody to the outside. Rousey again looking fantastic. The work she's been doing in these matches has been brilliant. Although it's only come in short bursts, that's all we need because we just love watching her in the ring. She's a badass. She was judo throwing everybody and anything in sight, chucking people around like an empty tracksuit, ripping people apart like an empty bag of crisps. You name it, she was doing it, and Ronda Rousey was dominating this match. But as I said, the finish spot, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan thought they were going to take advantage of Ronda Rousey. They had her by the arms. Rousey gave her trademark frown, turned it around, judo flipped them both, and the finish of the match got them into a double armbar submission and tapped out the 2 members of the Riot Squad. Fantastic finish to this match. Ruby Riott staying strong, kept out of the damage of the defeat, which was brilliant. And all in all, everybody actually looked very good in this match. They all looked cohesive and a solid performance from everyone involved. Now then, on to the match that was probably my favourite match of the night. Maybe just pipped AJ Styles and Samoa Joe for me. It was Buddy Murphy versus Curtis Alexander for the Cruiserweight Championship. Now, obviously with this match, Buddy Murphy was returning home for the first, I think I would imagine it's probably the first time he's wrestled in front of such a large audience, 70,000 people in attendance in Melbourne. It was a fantastic night for him. They were loving Buddy Murphy. I don't know if it was just because of the homecoming or maybe because of how good the match was, but this was the loudest and most involved in a night that I saw the crowd for this particular pay-per-view. Buddy Murphy and Alexander, you knew you were going to get a good match from these guys from the off, and they bloody delivered. You could tell they'd realised this was a big moment, a big opportunity to showcase what can be done on 205 Live and how good they are, and they did not miss a beat. There were some fantastic spots like a Falcon Arrow off the top turnbuckle by Curtis Alexander that nearly broke the ring, nearly broke him. He bounced off like a spring. Buddy Murphy sold it like a dream. Murphy himself was flying out of the ring. He did a flip on the outside to hit Alexander, and I'm not kidding, he flipped so far he almost cleared Alexander. That's how far he managed to elevate himself. 2 guys who we've seen wrestle before, but really all together were just the sequences, the understanding of each other's chemistry was just spot on. Really was good and showcased how good the cruiserweights can be. There was a couple of near falls. We had a few near falls, but all in all, the big news of the night is that Buddy Murphy goes home as the Cruiserweight Champion. And the good matches just kept on coming, and next up it was The Shield versus the Dogs of War, as Adam Wilborn would call them. And this, well, as you can imagine, this was pretty crazy and hectic. There was a lot of stuff going on in this match. Shield come down to the ring looking fantastic. They had the Hannibal Lecter-esque black half masks covering their faces there. Came to the ring, surrounded the Dogs of War, and the match kicked off. It was underway. The big underlying theme here was the Dogs of War, had they managed to get into the head of Dean Ambrose? And throughout the match there was a couple of times when you thought maybe he was going to do the turn. There was a bit in the middle of the ring where the Dogs of War had come on the outside and they had surrounded Roman and Seth in the ring, very much like the Shield. But obviously there was a fourth side of the ring that was free. Dean Ambrose, who'd been beaten up earlier and was climbing back in the ring, stood on the edge looking in, and everyone in the arena got drawn into this thing of, was he going to turn? Was he going to join those three? Or was he going to go in and fight with his brothers? Well, what do you think? Bloody believe in the Shield, mate, because bloody hell, Dean Ambrose went in there and he bloody fought for his brothers, didn't he? Put another shrimp on the barbie, eh? And then we got down to the finish sequence. Rollins was still reeling on the outside from an earlier attack. Ambrose was prone in the middle of the ring, and so in came Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler looking to put him away. The double team was on. They were setting up for the zigzag Claymore finish. But as they went to do that, Seth Rollins slid in, super kicked Drew McIntyre out of the ring. And then Dolph Ziggler kicked Seth Rollins and he just got flattened. And then from that point, Ambrose came in with the counter, smashed him in. Boom! Dirty deeds on Dolph Ziggler. 1, 2, 3. The Shield come out with the victory. Then on to the penultimate match of the night. And I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of time to talk about this because it wasn't a very long match at all. Before we knew it, The Miz was doing Daniel Bryan's finisher and kneed him in the face. Unfortunately, this isn't the finish to the match. This was a kick out from Bryan, which then led to The Miz getting up in shock, like, oh my god. And then before you knew it, it just all happened so quickly. Bryan got The Miz, rolled him up into a finish, small package, 1, 2, 3. Got the win, rolled out. And honestly, I was sat there in complete confusion, complete shock, complete disbelief more than anything. So AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, who will be doing battle at the Crown Jewel. But honestly, where this takes the Miz and Bryan storyline, I'm not so sure. Ultimately, that's 2 wins for the Miz, 1 for Bryan. Listen, I will put faith in the machine and see where it goes from here, but I would have honestly thought a better story would have been to have the Miz win and be 3-0 against Bryan. Bryan can't beat him, and then have the Miz do his whole spiel, winning the title or whatever he's going to do. But I don't work for WWE, so I guess screw me. And finally, we ended up with the main event of the night. What else was it going to be? The main event that had about 10 minutes worth of entrances, maybe more, but obviously, of course it did. Triple H versus The Undertaker for the last time ever in Australia. And now, hear me out here, because for me personally, I feel like, having watched it, that it delivered. It was 4 guys who are obviously very good at what they do, can obviously put on a great match, can obviously tell a great story. However, what I need to point out is, as a big, huge disclaimer, we were on the live stream and we did have this very weird thing going on at the same time where we had a boss battle and people were donating money to try and win and be the boss for the end of our live stream. So we had a lot going on. We had the excitement of that and the excitement of the match on TV. Maybe they blended together, but I can only give you my perspective. And from my perspective, honestly, I felt like this match, yeah, I know people are going to grumble at it and maybe say they're too old or they looked out of place. These guys looked good for me. For the match they put on was good. Like, it was exactly what I was expecting. It was slow, it was methodical. There was a spot in the crowd. They were taking bumps that maybe 50-year-old men shouldn't be taking, but you know what it is? That's the part of the business, and you can tell they wanted to put on a good match. As I said to Phil on the live stream, Triple H has a pressure to be a guy who puts on good matches now, because he can't then go and preach to his NXT sort of up-and-comers that they need to be doing X, Y, and Z in these matches. He needs to be a shining example, and everything we saw, from my perspective, maybe if I watch it back without all the excitement of the live stream, maybe this might not hold up, but to be honest, it felt like a decent match. It felt like 2 guys who put on a lengthy match, I should point out, maybe too long. The finish and the subsequent aftermath was... Phil called it. I genuinely thought maybe Taker would get the win, but Triple H, of course, Triple H got the victory. He managed to... The dead man had got him in the Hell's Gate and was choking Triple H out. There was spells where the referee was out cold, and I think Triple H had technically pinned Taker down to the mat for the 3 if there'd been a referee present. That never happened. Then Undertaker had technically tapped or choked out Triple H with the Hell's Gate. Again, no referee, so that never happened. And then as we got to the finish, There was a lot of throwbacks and callbacks to their previous matches, like the Hell in a Cell match where Triple H was grabbing at the leg of Taker and Shawn was trying to plead with Undertaker not to do some heinous things. Ultimately, of course, Michaels got involved. I think that was like a pedigree. He took a chair shot, he took a super kick to the face, he took another super kick, he took all sorts, and ultimately they managed to keep the dead man down for the 1, 2, 3, basically between Shawn Michaels and Triple H. The match was over, there'd been interferences, there'd been all sorts. It looked like we were getting this nice fairy tale ending, the end of an era to the end of another era, and yada yada yada. However, as we had the four men raising each other's arms at the end of the night, the Brothers of Destruction at 50 plus each, with the heel turn, just boom, heel turn, and choked out, choke slammed and tombstoned and God knows what else, Shawn Michaels and Triple H, and then put Shawn Michaels through an announce table just for good measure afterwards. And I can only assume that that is going to lead to a tag team match between the four of them at Crown Jewel, and I'm not against it, but I'd want to see our young talents and the up and coming guys and the current top guys at the top of the card for me. But I can understand the nostalgia and the money that's involved with this. They want to put on a show for Australia. So all in all, my thoughts on this is Super Showdown was a very decent pay-per-view for what it was. Better than Greatest Royal Rumble, which is another one of these, what they call the glorified house show. One title did change hands, the Cruiserweight Championship, but I don't think anybody's upset about the results. But obviously those are just my thoughts. I'm sure you've got plenty of your own to add to them, so please let us know what you thought about it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and share, hit the old subscribe button if you haven't already. If you want more of our videos, there should be some floating around somewhere over here somewhere. I've been Adam Nicholas, this was WWE Super Showdown, what went down in Australia, and I will see you next time.